Kia ora guys. So we are in week 3 and now we're going to have a look at linear equations. So it's rearranging equations and we are trying to solve linear equations. I'm going to give you 5 examples that are fairly similar to the 5 exercises, 4 examples similar to the 4 exercises that we have to do. So for part 1, here's an example for you. We are going to do 15x plus 10 equals 3x minus 4. Now the trick with these is you'll notice that there is an x on both sides of the equation. So what I do here is I move all of my x's to the side that has the largest positive x, or the largest of the two x's. So here I'm going to pick 15x. I'm going to keep the x's on the left hand side. So I'm going to minus 3x off this side to get rid of that. And remember, we have to make sure we do the same thing to both sides. So I'm going to minus 3x here. I'm going to do another step at the same time. I'm going to move all of the numbers onto the right side. So this has got plus 10. So I'm going to do minus 10 on this side. And I have to balance the equations by doing minus 10 on that side as well. So let's keep the equal sign going straight down on the page. So 15x minus 3x is going to get us 12x. And this is going to cancel, this is going to cancel. Negative 4 minus 10 gets us negative 14. So now when we are trying to isolate x, we've got to get rid of this 12. So the opposite of 12 times x is going to be dividing that by 12. So we're going to divide by 12 here. We're going to have to balance that out by dividing by 12 on the other side. So we get x equals negative 14 over 12. And it's fine leaving that as a fraction, although maybe it's worth simplifying, and we can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, so we get negative 7 over 6. And that's about as simple as I can go there. Sorry. I have to keep changing my microphone because it's cutting out. This is like the 4th time I've tried to make a video. So that's example number 1. Fully simplified. We've actually solved for x. X is negative 7 over 6. So the second example, let me give you a bit of space. We're going to get a little bit trickier because these exercises get a little bit harder. They start getting brackets and a bit more rearranging. So this is the example we're going to go for. 5x minus 3 plus 6x and in minus 2, and then in brackets 3x minus 4 equals 0. Am I on the page? Not quite. I'm going to move that over a bit for you. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so in this one, first thing we're going to do is we're going to expand the brackets. So we get 5x minus 15 over here, plus 6x, then minus 6x. Look at this, negative 2 times negative 4. That gets us to a plus 8. I'm actually going to move the equal sign over a bit, sorry, because we might run out of room otherwise, but don't worry too much about that. I like to underline all of the x's with the symbol in front of them, and then underline all of the numbers in a different fashion so I can deal with them separately. So let's get the x's. That plus 6x and the minus 6x just cancel each other out. So we're left with 5x, and then minus 15 and plus 8 is going to get us to minus 7 equals 0. Now all we need to do, so we've got a positive x on the side, so I'm going to leave x on the left hand side, and we're just going to plus 7 on both sides so we can isolate that x. So we're going to get 5x is equal to 7. Then we just need to get rid of the times 5. We'll just divide by 5 on both sides to do that. So then x equals 7 over 5, and that can't be simplified anymore. Alright. So example number 3 that I'm going to give you. When we get to exercise 3 here, we notice that they're going to use a lot of fractions. Now, generally the trick with fractions that I like to do is I try and get rid of the fractions where possible. So here's an example. So we've got 4 over 3x minus 5 equals 1 over 2x. How am I going to get rid of those fractions? So this is really annoying because the x's are on the denominator of the fractions. But what you'll notice is that x's are only on the denominator. So I can fix that straight away by just getting everything. This is what they do in Europe, by the way. I think it's quite cool. And they say, I'm going to times everything by x. And if I times everything by x, that's going to get rid of these x's on the denominators, which are really hard to deal with. So let's do that. 4 over 3x times x just gets rid of the x on the base, so it becomes 4 over 3. 5 times x, you get 5x. And then here, we're just left with 1 over 2. And look at that. Now, we have just one x instead of the two x's, and there's no x's in denominators. Beautiful. Okay, look at this. We've got a negative 5x. So I could make that positive, and it will make things easier for myself by moving it to the other side. So I'm going to put all my x's to the right-hand side, and I'm going to bring all my numbers to the left-hand side. So it's going to become 4 over 3 minus a half. So I minus a half off both sides. And then I'm going to plus 5x onto both sides, so it equals 5x. I'm taking a few shortcuts now because you guys are probably getting a little bit better at this. In order to be able to do this, I'm going to need to times this by 3, the top and the bottom by 3 of this fraction, we can do that, and the top and the bottom of this fraction by 2, so that we have a common denominator. So let's do that. So I'm going to have 8 over 6 minus 3 over 6 equals 5x. We can do them now. So it becomes 5 over 6 equals 5x. I'm probably going off the page, sorry. Here, we're going to divide by 5 to get x isolated. And if we divide this by 5, we can just divide the top by 5 to get 1 over 6 equals x. Some people like to put the x on the left-hand side, and we can do that, but this is fine. Cool, that's example number 3. So the final exercise, exercise 4. I'm going to go with a real tricky one, but it'll come out fairly nice. So what they do here a lot is they use heaps of fractions again, and it's just leveled up in difficulty. So here's an example that I've gone for. 4 over 9 plus 6x, so this is example 4, equals 8 over x minus 3. Now, again, x's are in the denominators and x's are on both sides. So we're going to use the same trick, except remember how I was saying in my first video that in fractions, everything is secretly in brackets. So we're going to have to divide both sides by, or times both sides by 9 plus 6x to get that off the denominator. So we'll do it slowly. So we'll times this side by 9 plus 6x. And if we're doing it to that side, we have to do it to this side as well, 9 plus 6x. I'm going to do it slowly. You'll probably do it faster when you get used to it. So that gets rid of this. So we're just left with a 4 on this side. And then this we can just chuck on the top of the fraction. So it comes 8, 9 plus 6x over x minus 3. And remember, that's in a bracket. And then we're just going to do the same thing to the right-hand side. We'll times this side by x minus 3. And if we're doing it to that side, we have to do it to this side as well, x minus 3. So that's going to become 4x minus 3 equals 8, 9 plus 6x, because these just cancel out. And now we're in a position where we can just expand the brackets and things should just start popping out. So 4x minus 12 equals 8 times 9. Is that right? 72 plus 48x. 8 times 6 is secretly my least favorite multiplication in the world. Anyway, hopefully I got that right. So where's my highest positive x? It's on the right-hand side, so I'm going to keep my x's on that side. So I'm going to minus 4x here. Minus 4x there. I want to get rid of that number here, so I'm going to minus 72. I have to do the same over here, minus 72. So that's going to become, cancel, negative 12 minus 72 gets us negative 84. And then over here, cancel, 48 minus 4 is 44x. Okay, and now we just need to divide by 44 to get x by itself. And so we get negative 84 over 44 equals x. Let's simplify this. We can divide both sides, the top and the bottom, by 4. So it's going to become negative 21 over, well, I didn't divide it, sorry, over 11. Remember, you can just swap these around. It's not too much of an issue to just change your right hand side and left hand side if you want it to look a little bit tidier, but that's fine.